Cebu Catholic Television Network.
I solemnly swear that I will faithfully
A prosperous and free democracy can be built in the Philippines upon the ruins of war, the prestige of America, and the American way of life.
La más hermosa lección de diplomacia.
All this kindness, all this courtesy.
They cannot succeed without the support of the people. We cannot succeed without the support of our people.
But I was not fighting for lawyers, but for the people.
Na kagalang-galang na bumubuo sa ika-10 Kongreso.
In times of financial and economic stress,
I, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, fulfill my duties, President of the Philippines.
May gabi, mga higala, mga kasimanwa ko, mga kauturan, niya na punta sa atong programa Politics and Beyond. Ako si Eric Espina sa kaning higayuna, kaning hugnaa, ang atong makahinabi, naani, ang nagitawag, ilado kay ni siya sa Manila, ug labi na sa kinatibukan sa Pilipinas. Kaya naman na siya yung mga makita nato sa YouTube. So, masundan ni ninyo, kaya hasta akong anak, nagsunod magani niya. Muna, dako kay yung dungog para sa CCTN ug sa akong programa nga atong makahinabi ni si ako naging paila-ila ninyo. Pinapakilala ko po sa inyo si Professor Xiao Chua. Good evening.
Dagang salamat, maayong aldaw sa inyo, Gabos. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you very much. So Professor, that's the way I would call you, no? We were supposed to have this interview weeks ago.
Yes.
Because of that storm, no?
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, and that was for the purpose. Was it for the purpose of the movie?
No. I should have been here for the purpose of the DOST-SCI
Okay.
Science Leadership Camp, no?
Okay.
For the scholars, and also to talk about Quezon for Sunstar. The
I
Sunstar invited me to talk about Quezon, so hindi na natuloy yon.
Okay.
But I'm going thereafter for an interview.
Okay, let's peg that. Para naman matuwa yung
Sige.
yung DOST, no?
Right. Opo.
What's happening with DOST?
Okay, so there was a program na ngayon ay dati project siya, program na the Filipino Patriot Scholars Program
Okay.
of the DOST.
Okay.
That was started by the DOST Science Education Institute Director, Dr. Josette Bio
Okay.
of Iloilo. So, si Dr. Josette Bio, so yung SEI, sila yung namamahala ng mga scholarships around the country. So, isang ginawa ni Dr. Bio, na pinagpapatuloy ngayon ni Director J. Il Cornelio, no?
Yes.
Pinarami niya yung scholars.
Okay.
It used to be just a few, and then pinarami talaga.
When you talk of scholars, these are scholars for history?
For science.
For science?
For science, yeah.
Okay. And then,
So,
how come history?
So, my role there
Oo.
is, we had this scholars leadership camp so that itong mga scholars of science will not leave the country. So,
Nationalism.
parang
Patriotism.
nationalism and step up to become leaders in their community.
Okay.
So, yun yung training, no? So, hindi lang ako yung speaker. Nandiyan si Rose Jeline Bolante, si the political scientist Doy Romero, si
Yes.
Bernie Cangrejo, no? Si Narobi. So, all of us are training these students to be good leaders, to have projects in the community that will help the community. Napapanahon kasi lahat tayo nasasaktan dun sa level of corruption that we see. That is unprecedented in Philippine history. Parang tinalo pa si Marcos, ano? So, yun yung, well, Marcos tayo ngayon, but yun yung nakakalungkot. Kaya we want the scholars to actually see this not as a setback but as an opportunity to actually help and use their science to free their people, diba? From misery.
And this has been an ongoing program for DOST?
Yeah, well, it has been done before the pandemic, pero yung program namin, which is a 3-day camp, started in 2022. At I was already on board. On board na nila ako because what my contribution to that is I want to show these scholars that first science and history are really connected before. Because during the Enlightenment, yung arts, humanities, and sciences, hindi magkahiwalay. They're called the arts and sciences. Because you want to free them from the intervention of the king and the church. Diba? Kaya liberal arts.
Liberal arts.
Ngayon, pinaghihiwalay nila yan. And then, yung ding point na our heroes, even the leaders before, during the time of the Sinaunang Bayan, the Datos, the Babaylans, the Panday, use science to give kaginhawaan, the Baganis to keep the kaginhawaan of the people. So, this continued to our heroes. So, there would be abuses, there would be colonizers who would use science to enslave us, but there would be people who would step up to also use science to free us. Like Hermano Puli, like Rizal, Antonio Luna, Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto. So I talk about them, and I also talk about modern ones like sina Juan Flavier, Bobby de la Paz, sina Johnny Escandor. So all of these people na men of science who stepped up to help their people. So yun yung gusto kong iparamdam sa kanila na you will be continuing the great tradition of the Bagani. Yung Bagani, which came from the Austronesian word wani, that concept. Wani kaya kawani eh.
Ay, kawani, yes.
Wani is when pag ikaw ay nagbibigay ng tulong o serbisyo sa kapwa nang walang inaasahang kapalit. So beautiful.
That's the meaning of wani.
Yes, and that's where bayani came from.
So, kung wani ka, this is the highest form of altruism. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Selflessness, and this is you serve. Arsenio Manuel, I know you're familiar. You love books, no?
Yes.
Arsenio Manuel wrote an anthropological study on the Manubo.
Yes.
And he talked about the Bahani.
Okay.
And in the Bahani is the gentile warrior na kinoconsult ng mga tao, and if he's asked to fix something, whether it's a trouble or what, he cannot refuse.
Okay.
So he have to fix, and he's like the judge or the police of the Manobo. So yun yung service niya na he cannot refuse if he is asked for a just parang help from people.
Is he always the eldest or just the strongest?
The Dato is always the strongest.
Yes.
So the Bagani is a group of people, di ba? Bahani. Pero the Dato, yan yung kailangan pinakamagaling na warrior. Because if you're not the best warrior, someone can challenge you.
Tatalunin ka.
And it will be the new Dato. So yun.
Why Cebu?
Okay. So,
of course, I'm not complaining. No, I'm not. I like Cebu, of course.
We actually held a few months ago the Patriot Scholars Congress, which is like the whole country. Pero this one is specifically for Region 7. Actually, we're going around the country. I think we had 17 or 18 conducts already for every region of the Philippines. So, and we also have for the graduate students. So, yeah, this is our last for the whole year. So, medyo pagod kami kasi hanggang weekend yung aming work for this eh. But it's very good that we are able to do this, and we are able to engage with different students, the brightest students of this country actually.
Yes. In terms of, as a member of academia, let me ask you, when you evaluate this, are you seeing interest growing in the students that you are able to touch?
Fantastic, no? Dr. Josette Bio, before she left the SEI, I think she submitted the report to Congress for the budget hearings. Kasi we have to ask budget to increase the scholars and their stipend to increase it. Alam mo yung report niya, I don't have the numbers, pero we actually see after the Filipino Patriot Scholars Project was implemented, na bumababa kasi ang problema talaga sa scholars ng DOST, once they finish their course, they're supposed to have what we call a service, parang years of service, as part of their contract, to stay here.
Parang doktor sa bayan.
Correct.
Parang, ganun,
To stay here in the Philippines and serve. Marami ang tumatakas noon. They go abroad.
Di ba may kontrata pa dapat yan?
Correct. So, siyempre, pag ganun, hindi mahahabulin ng gobyerno yan eh. So, we actually lose a lot of money because of that, and resources and manpower. Pero, nabawasan yan in the past few years. Malaki yung decrease ng mga taong do not complete their service requirements. And, the good thing about this is, the DOST have this Balik Scientist program, where the scientists na umalis na ng bansa na Pilipino, they will be offered jobs here in the Philippines by the DOST. Hahanapan sila ng job dito, which will probably pay them higher than what they're receiving. So, para bumalik ang mga scientists dito at dito sila maglingkod. So, yun yung napakagandang nangyayari ngayon sa DOST. And the good thing about it is, we talk about corruption.
Yes.
Parang dito, nakikita mo lahat yung resulta. Walang ghost blood control project. No? Napupunta sa estudyante, napupunta sa mga projects, and you see, may mga science exhibits pa talaga, maiiyak ka. There's one story that there's one exhibition of the OST that went to I think to Lawag. And then may mga pumupunta doon sa science exhibit na naglalakad pa from Bacara para lang mapanood yung maka-attend. Tapos yung, alam mo yun, yung mga batang public school, tapos nakakakita sila ng mga AR, yung mga augmented reality, ganon. Tapos matutuwa ka talaga. And now, si Director J.L. Cornelio of the SEI, ang target niya ngayon, kasi wala tayong scholars from Tawi-Tawi, Sulu. Yan yung konti ang scholars natin. So, he's touching base there. At lagi nga siya sa Tawi-Tawi recently and sa Sulu. So that we can get more scholars. Kasi ang hindi natin naaabot, yung mga mountain regions, sana makapag-aral din yung mga estudyante nila doon ng siyensya. So yeah, beautiful.
Do you see the essential importance of putting history and science, the mind and the heart, in building a nation, in building a country?
No. Ito yun, nakakatuwa kasi we're an educated nation.
Yes.
We're a literate people.
Yes.
Pero we know that many times, hindi lang yung talino yung importante. Tama yung sinabi mo, may puso. But of course, history will not really change anything. Unless it touches your heart.
Correct.
Diba? And yung love of country, wag mong memenosin yun. Kasi once you have it, yung totoong love of country, everything that you do, every moment of your life, even if you're doing it personal, for personal purposes, ang lagi mong iniisip, makakatulong ba sa bayan ito? Is there something that can it contribute to the betterment of our society? So, ako, you know why I believe it? Because when history touched me, the power of history touched me, I think I believe that I can do something for the country, even if I am just a teacher, even if I am just a professor. So, my work is not stopping. I think I'm successful in what I do. I'm not the best historian, the most bright historian, but I can tell a very good story, and I think people are, are supporting me for that. So I guess because I believe na nangyari sa akin yung effect ng power of history, I know that it will happen to anyone. Na if they let themselves be touched by the stories of heroism of our heroes.
If you don't mind, I'd like to say that maybe when you talk about history, when it touches your heart, it becomes identical. Identical. It's your identity already.
Inseparable.
It's yourself that you're touching already.
Yes.
Once that heart is touched.
Correct. No? Yun yung power niya talaga eh. Kasi history is not about facts. It's really about when the facts tell something about us. And it tells us probably why we are like this.
Yes.
Or why we had certain problems.
Yes.
in the present, you can root it from the past,
And
like
the past that
patronage
repeats itself.
politics, di ba? Like all this corruption
Oo.
that is happening. But also, that, kasi di ba parang we feel now that there is no hope. Parang it's very hopeless now na nakikita natin na what is the end game of this corruption scandal?
Yes.
Hindi natin alam. And masusolve pa ba ito? But we always have to realize that, and this is what I like about what my Professor Ricardo Jose, the expert on World War II, is telling us. You look at World War II, or you look at the Philippine Revolution, that's even worse than what's happening to us now. But we were able to prevail. We pushed through, and we came through, and we won the revolution, and we won the war. So, and we had victory against the dictator. So, wala tayong hindi pwedeng, history gives us hope. No? And that hope, hopefully, like may pag-asa si Bonifacio, sabi niya, yung pangalan niya, may pag-asa, di ba? That hope touches you to do something about it. No? Walang malaki o maliit na bagay na hindi mahalaga para sa pagpapanday ng magandang bukas para sa bayan natin. Because Andres Bonifacio said, ang kasipagan sa paghahanap buhay ay isang tunay na pagmamahal sa sarili, asawa, anak, kapatid o kabayan. You're an engineer, you build the best bridge that you can build. And when you're an engineer, hindi nagiba yung bridge mo, it help people to go to their everyday lives. You've done your job already for the nation. Ang nakakalungkot, pati tulay na bagong-bago, gumigiba. Mga classroom dito, naglinog, di ba, linog. Dito ang narinig ko, yung mga bagong school buildings, yun ang nagigiba.
Yes.
That's why people return to the old school buildings. Kasi mas matibay pa yung luma.
Yung gabaldon. Politics and Beyond will pause for a few reminders. Pagbabalik natin, we're going to touch about the other issues.
Yes.
The other reason why Professor Chow was here. And then we're going to ask any revelations regarding Manuel Quezon when we return.
Discover the beauty of the Philippines. With Philippine Airlines, the country's flag carrier. The airline that lets you feel the warmth of the nation. Mabuhay!
Okay, nagbabalik ang ating programa Politics and Beyond. Kausap pa rin po natin si Professor Xiao Chua. Professor, no?
Yes.
Lipat tayo ng konti. Kasi sa isang issue lang, marami na tayong pwede pag-usapan. Pero dito sa punto na ito, yung kay Manuel Quezon, any fallacies, any truisms, gano'n na lang, just to abbreviate.
Okay.
Ano yung mga fallacies at bakit nagkaroon ng malaking bruhaha, nagkagulo, at nagkapalitan ng mga pananaw?
Remember that a historical film, or any film for that matter, regarding the past or whatever, is an artistic interpretation of the director and the artist. So, it's like asking an artist to, be totally accurate about something when in fact an artist is a creative.
Yes.
So ang before, when I was during the time of the Philippine Centennial, when I was watching you on television, when I watched, for example, Jose Rizal, I already have a mental note of this is the wrong thing, wrong thing, based on history. Bata pa ako noon, I was in high school. So eventually I realized na hindi ganun ang pag-treat sa historical films. you treat historical films not as history but as an art. So that's why it's a canvas that the director creates. Kami, if you consult us, so for example, I have been consultant to a lot of historical drama. Katipunan, Ilustrado, Lakambini, for example, which is also showing now. Ang na-realize ko is kapag kami ay kapag yung historian, we can give our input. Pero syempre, you cannot totally recreate the past apparently.
Yes.
Because there would be budget constraints. Mali yung kulay ng mesa. But again, it's not the point. The point is you carry a certain story through. And na pumipili niyan, director. You consult us, we give our input, whether you accept it or not, you pay us. Charot. No? But, you see, what I did was, so, Gerald Tarog, hindi siya kumukuha ng consultants to check his script. Because Rodi Vera, very very good writer.
My classmate.
Yes, wow. Lodi Vera. He, nagre-research yan eh. Wide reader yan.
Magaling magsulat.
Ay, nako. And Gerald. So, hindi sila kumukuha ng consultant na papakialaman yung script nila. So, we're actually here and we've been doing this. This is the context that is lost to everyone. We've been doing this with Gerald and TBA for 10 years already from General Luna.
Okay.
Na kami, hindi pa kami masyadong kilala nun, na some historians, young historians, are sent throughout the country to talk about the context of the film.
Yes.
So that the students, when time comes for the showing, will watch it. And they have educational value.
Yes.
So yun yung role ko. I'm part of the, kumbaga, it's parang ayaw ng iba, pero we're part of the marketing. So when I read the script, I will be honest with you. Ito sa beautiful script, napakaganda.
Maganda pagkasulat.
Maganda ang pelikula. Pero yung una kong naisip, naku, walang redeeming value si Quezon.
Okay.
Talagang political player all throughout the film. It's scary. No? You know why it's scary? Because, I'll tell you, this is the Quezon that I've read. And my teachers taught me.
And you're bringing him down to your level. Parang ganyan.
Exactly. So, all those incidents na, they dramatize it, but they're mainly based on truth. And of course, as an artist, pwede nilang baliin talaga yun to get to a larger message. Okay.
Is it a question of emphasis?
Yes,
yun
it's a question of emphasis. If kung ako yung masusunod, if I am the director, I would have placed perhaps one line about his achievements, etc., etc. But I am not the director. Di ba? I'm a historian. The director knows if the film is going to be interesting to people. Baka nga kasi, kaya hindi pinapakialam sa amin. Kasi if it is a proper film, then nobody's going to talk about it.
Okay.
Di ba?
Nothing controversial.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody will talk about it.
Ang dami ko nang ginawa na ako yung consultant, hindi naman sumisikat tulad ng Quezon. Di ba? Because we're trying to make proper, and when it's proper, nobody talks about it. I'm not saying mali yung sina Gerald. Sinasabi ko lang, they chose a certain narrative which is based on truth, but it parang, syempre, there are other contexts. And sabi ko na lang, okay, I'll sign into this as part of the team. Iikutan natin ng discussion on the context of why Quezon plays the game like that.
Okay.
And yung in-explain ko dyan, para rin alam ng tao, basically, they have no choice, no? Professor Vanny Viernas, we go to field trips with our students in Quezon Memorial Circle, and this is what we discuss.
Yung sa ilalim.
Yung nasa ilalim. Ito hindi yung tomb niya eh.
Tomb niya,
ito hindi discuss namin sa mga estudyante. Sabi namin, why is Quezon Janus-faced? Dalawa yung mukha niya eh. Ang sasabihin niya sa Pilipino, dadalhin ko kayo sa kalayaan. And then he's telling the Americans, we need you, America. We still are not ready, di ba? So, sa interest kasi ng mga politiko, they're actually, why are they parang dependent on the patronage of the Americans? Okay. Remember, the former Datu dispenses kaginhawaan and karangalan to the people. Now, colonialist, kaya tayo nagkanda-hetot-hetot talaga dahil sa kolonyalismo eh. I'm sorry to say, magalit na kayo sa akin. I mean, you know, you can be me and, you know, be interviewed. Basta ako nandito. Colonialism, nagkahetot-hetot tayo dahil dyan kasi suddenly you have a foreign power and all the leaders like the Datus would now have to suck
kowtow
to the colonizers so that they can continue to dispense ginhawa to their people.
so that they can survive also.
Correct.
Yes.
So, eto na ngayon. Remember the Philippine Revolution wanted to, you know, to cut that.
Yes.
Rizal, Bonifacio, Luna, etc.
Except Aguinaldo. Okay.
Anyway, I tell you, ito yung masaya dyan. Just remember, if we won the revolution and Jose Rizal was a senator of the Republic, or Emilio Jacinto, oo, but all of them are dead.
Yes.
Kasi hardline nga sila eh.
Hardline, yes.
And then the Americans came. And so, the next generation of leaders, very young.
Learn from that.
Sabi nila,
Makipaglaro rin tayo.
Hindi, sabi nila, if we're going to be hardline, like Macario Sakay, patay din tayo.
Patay tayo, yes.
Walang magdadala sa atin sa independence. And so we have to now, so they saw, according to Professor Manny Biernas, who is an expert on the American period and who is this Governor General, Leonard Wood,
Yeah.
na there is no contradiction in saying that we want independence and we love America. Kaya ganun makikita mo, yun yung context of the leaders at that time. Now, patronage politics, pinakita naman sa film. Quezon did not invent it.
Yes.
He kinda institutionalized it as a parang, kaya nga yung sinasabi ko dito, more than Rizal and Bonifacio, the real template, and this is according to Jaime Veneracion, the real template of the Filipino state is not Rizal and Bonifacio, but Manuel Quezon.
Okay.
Diba?
Okay.
The real template. Kasi, with all the greatness and all the calumny of the Filipino state. Diba? So, on one hand, you have Manuel Quezon, the one who believes in social justice. Remember, in the United States, look at Trump, they don't like Obamacare. Diba? Kasi, why would we socialize the poor's health care, etc.? In the Philippines, we have totally no issue about that.
Yes.
Totally no issue. Tanggap natin yan. Why? Because Quezon implanted on us that we should take care of the poor. Totoo yun. Yeah. Kahit meron pang Sakdal Massacre na early in his administration, pero natuto siya from that eh. That's why eventually he implemented the 8-hour law, the minimum wage, housing projects, the vote for women, national language, to be inclusive. So, if you're going to look at all of that, meron yung
Parang bumalik tayo sa datu, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Tinutulungan natin yung mga taong hirap. We protect the...
So, kaklinawaan. Pero, yung problem doon, di ba, Quezon would not be a leader without the patronage of the Americans.
He would not have survived.
Exactly.
He would not be president.
That is why, at kasama nun dyan, he would not have survived without the help of the businessmen.
Of course.
So you have now, ito na nga, yung tinatawag ni Joe Masison na burokrata kapitalismo, ninegosyo nila yung gobyerno ngayon.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Rent-seeking, ano ba yung ginawa ng mga, for example, ng mga Lopez, di ba? Na meron silang mga businesses like broadcasting, like, you know, trade, buses and all of that. And then, they will be friendly with politicians so that, tutulungan namin yung politician. The politician will now try to give you some what do you call this, protection and all of that. So yun na yung that's now Philippine politics now, that it came from how the Americans and the Spaniards in many ways shape yung mga Filipino leaders natin. So that's the long and short of it, no? So that's the context that we try to give.
Pati yung pork barrel, si Leonard Wood daw yan eh. Nagtura 1922.
Diba?
1922 din.
So, yun yung parang naging problem natin. In fact, I tell you something,
So what wasn't real there?
Okay.
What was the fallacy there? Kasi now we understand more or less.
What wasn't real? Okay. Ano ba yun? Okay. Ito medyo trivial na, Yung Aguinaldo incident, for example. in the yung nagkaitim yung mga tao sa Malolos, it was not related to the elections. It happened earlier. So ginawa lang siyang device to show how vilified Aguinaldo was during the campaign. Pero that incident in Malolos happened earlier. And ito sa more grassroots parang movement of the people in Malolos rather than what we call yung parang akalan mo kinontrol ni Quezon yun. It was not orchestrated by Quezon. So may mga ganong mga little things, but siguro yung major.
Major.
This is the major. Or first, the cabinet crisis.
Okay.
Yung cabinet crisis was triggered by the Conley case,
Okay,
di ba?
yes,
Kung
yes.
napanood niyo yung pelikula, may isang police chief na ni-raid yung isang parang bar at saka sugalan na may mga politiko nagalit sa mayor ng Manila, sack Conley,
Yes.
the police, American police, and ang problema, pinagbibintangan kasi siya na meron ding mga shenanigans na nalaman ni Leonard Wood, nakita niya na hindi naman pala totoo, so he reinstated Conley.
Yes.
In the film, it was Quezon who made it an issue against Wood. Na this is not an issue of due process, it's an issue of Filipinos against Americans. Oo. But it was actually Jose P. Laurel, the Secretary of Justice, fresh from Yale, very young, appointed by the Americans to become Secretary of Justice, and siya talaga yung nagpumilit. Why? Quezon doesn't really want to fight Wood sa totoo lang. This is according to Vanny Viernas.
It makes sense.
He doesn't want to fight Wood. Why? When Wood came to the Philippines, he was not just any bureaucrat. Leonard Wood was presidential nominee against in the party. Natalo lang siya ni Calvin Coolidge sa nomination of the presidency. So, when Calvin Coolidge became president, in-exile niya si Wood sa Pilipinas. So, when he came here, he was not just a politician. He was not just any bureaucrat. This guy, in the next election, might be president of the United States. So, maingat sina Quezon. Pero itong si Laurel, batang-bata, medyo hot na hot.
Batanggenyo.
Nag-resign, di ba? So, yung si Manuel Quezon, napilitan ngayon. According to Professor Viernas, napilitan to actually now join Laurel, resign in the cabinet, and make it an issue of Filipinos against the Americans. So, may mga ganun na mga... Siyempre, of course,
mga nuances.
You want to get rid of yung mga complicated stories. Si Quezon na yung pinanguna mo doon. Pero ang nakakatuwa kasi dyan, yung mga Conley case, yung mga cabinet crisis, ito yung mga boring pag-usapan sa American period na very technical. Pero pagdating sa film, parang mas maintindihan mo ng konti.
Sa version ng mga Cebuanos, and this is close to the Visayan especially, no?
Yeah.
Merong kaisipan ng mga matatanda na had Sergio Osmeña Sr. been the president, the official language today would be Visayan and not Tagalog because there were more Visayans before than Tagalogs. Yan ang version ng mga Cebuanos which is close to our heart. But before you answer that, we'll pause for a few reminders.
Nangita pa mong gugod para internet sa kong anak, ma'am.
Ay, wala na yung problema. Pag sinisibo.
Sinisibo, sinisibo. For your internet connection. And for the signal of your cable TV. So fast and straight, the transmission to your home.
Sinisibo.
Sinisibo, sinisibo. Offers you to have fiber optics.
For your viewing experience, perfect and clear so far.
So great and affordable for you to enjoy.
Sinisibo.
Sinisibo Television Network Incorporated offers fiber to the home broadband internet.
Bundled with fiber to the home, cable TV connection. Cine Cebu Television Network Incorporated, with its operation in Metro Cebu and the whole province of Cebu soon.
And affordable for you to enjoy.
Cine Cebu.
Okay, we're back in the Politics and Beyond. We're still talking to Professor Xiao Chua. And so, Professor, this is the issue that is closest to the Cebuanos and the Visayans.
national language, yes.
And in fact, the old politicians who come from these areas would say, kung si Sergio Osmeña Sr. lang ang presidente, ang national language ngayon, Cebuano. Eh, kasi mas marami ang mga Bisaya daw noon kaysa sa Tagalog. Your take?
Possible, no? But there was nung Quezon was established na Surian ng wikang pambansa.
Yes.
Apparently, in their census, there was a time, parang naglalaban-laban kasi there was a time na maraming Cebuano. Pero in that particular census, I have to check this again. Lumabas, mas marami yung Tagalog.
Okay.
So, so ano nangyari? Even the Visayan, for example, taga Leyte, Jaime de Vera became a champion of Tagalog. So parang magtataka ka. These are people from non-Tagalog, so actually saying Tagalog.
Dapat.
No. Na ako naman, ang tingin ko dyan, it would be awkward if you have the capital city, Manila, but you have a Cebuano national language. Medyo awkward yun. You had your chance, by the way, and I will tell you how. Professor Vicente Villan wrote about the Pintados.
Yes.
During the time of Legazpi. Di ba Legazpi went to Cebu?
Yes.
And then he went to Iloilo.
Yes.
No? Then, when De Goiti, Legazpi's man, pupunta siya sa north.
Okay.
No? Parang gegerahin nila yung mga taga Mindoro kasi yun yata yung request ng mga taga Panay.
Kasi parang may sarili silang empire din doon.
Correct.
At that time.
So parang may mga away din yung north. Noon pa man, bago pa dumating sina Legazpi, may away na yung north and south.
Yes.
So, titirahin na yun ni De Goiti. Ang kasama ni De Goiti and ni Legazpi, dalawang invasion yon, na nagsumakop sa Maynila ay libo-libong Bisaya. So, what happened? So, remember, there were only about probably 200 Spaniards, and then you have 1,000 Bisayan natives going with them, and they conquered Manila twice. What happened? Yung mga Bisaya daw na nagnanirahan sa Manila, instead of influencing,
na-influencean.
Sila yung naging Tagalog.
Naging Tagalog.
So yung eventually yung mga pamilya nila when they live there, sila yung naging Tagalog. So that's why sabi ko nga, you had your chance. You had your chance. But seriously, ito I tell you, no. I don't want to offend people, pero I'm just a simple teacher for the longest time. I mean, ngayon lang naman ako nakilala ng kaunti. So when I go around the country for something, alam mo, because of what happened, the history already, di ba, na tinuro na yung Filipino, Tagalog-based Filipino as national language, tinuro sa eskwelahan.
Andyan na yan, in short.
Nandyan. Tapos, when I go to the palengke, wala namang problema.
Yes.
They talk to me in Tagalog.
Correct.
So, yung ordinary people, they have the problem with it kasi nanonood naman ng Batang Quiapo, nanonood ng Itbulaga, mga Tagalog lang yan eh. So, yung masa, wala silang problema. The problem is, it becomes an issue with, I'm sorry to say, politicians and academics. Kasi nga, may agenda, no? To vilify Metro Manila in the national government. So, hopefully ngayon, mayroon pa rin mga advocates niyan, pero ngayon nababawasan na yan eh. Kasi you know what I believe now? It's not the language or the system that makes people have kaginawaan. You know what? Good local governance. Good local governance. Okay. Alam natin lahat. There are many wonder cities. Even Duterte's Davao. Bibigay na natin yan. Even if I'm an opposition to the Duterte. What the Duterte's did to Davao. yung unang mga panahon nung ginagawa nila yon. Ayoko yung mga killings, ayoko yung mga DDS. But when you look at, for example, kahit sinong presidente, kung ang local government nyo ay matino, matino ang bayan nyo.
Totoo yan.
All the services will come, all the opportunities will be there. Naga, look at Naga, under the yung asawa ni Lenny, si Jesse Robredo. Other cities in the Philippines, pag magandang local governments mo, Iloilo, for example, pag magandang local governance mo, may good governance ka, less corruption, babaha ng biyaya. Kahit hindi kayo tulungan ng Maynila. Ang nakikita ko kasi dito, yung mga national language, yung mga Manila imperialism, ginagamit yan ng ilan to be an excuse to the ineptitude of their political dynasties. So, parang nakakalungkot yun. Nakita ko talaga that because of the local government code of the 1987 and the 1987 Constitution, talagang uunlad ka kung magaling ang mga pinuno. That's why we encourage people to vote local leaders na magagaling. Wag lang yung pinag-uusapan natin, nag-aaway tayo about presidente, vice-presidente. Halos wala nga silang epekto sa atin.
Yung local governance ang importante.
Local governance. So, yan na. So, that's why, kasama yan doon sa ano. Ayoko nang i-blame ang Metro Manila kasi kawawa punching bag natin ng Metro Manila eh. Pag tinignan mo naman, if you go to Metro Manila, sino bang taal na taga Maynila? Wala naman. Ako, hindi ako taga Maynila. Pero nandun na ako. Nakikinabang ako sa Metro Manila. Diba? Pagka may pera ako pang Metro Manila, binibigay ko sa probinsya namin. So, I don't know. Parang nakikinabang naman tayo sa Metro Manila. Pero we are so, parang masyado tayong harsh on Metro Manila. Diba? While, sa totoo lang, local government, kaya Cebu nakatayo. Cebu nakatayo kasi marami kayo naging pinunong magagaling. Diba? Sa probinsya man o sa lungsod. So, that's why you have your own opportunities here. So, yun ang nakikita ko lang na wala tayo dapat problema kasi sa wika, tanggap ng Pilipino yan. Tanggap ng Pilipino yung national language natin.
I will ask this of you, no? Nasa konstitusyon natin, ang basihan daw ng ating pambansang wika ay dapat manggaling sa mga
gusto ko yan.
Malalaking mga mga malalaking salita.
Correct.
Ang tanong ko po sa inyo ay ang ating komisyon ba ay gumagawa ng mga hakbang upang so that pwede silang mag-adapt ng mga salita na kunyari sa Cebuano.
Maganda yan.
Kasi parang walang nangyayaring ganyan eh.
Nagkakaroon tayo ng problema because ayaw yung mga sumunod na mga naging managers ng wika. This is my opinion. I'm not an expert on language. I'm not a linguist.
Yes.
Yung mga sumunod, ang napansin ko lang to, this is my observation. Sa Indonesia kasi, ang standardization ay seryoso eh.
Yes.
Pare-pareho dapat ang spelling. Dito sa Pilipinas, si Almario lang ang gustong mag-standardize, di ba? Because naging postmodern ang tingin natin sa language construction. What does this mean? Hindi mo pwedeng pigilan ng language na mag-evolve. So, hinahayaan mo siya. So, kung ang national language, walang Cebuano, hindi mo ipipilit na, dapat may maglalagay ka, dapat natural siyang manggaling sa tao. So, well, okay din yun, pero may problema din doon kasi nga hindi na fulfill yung project na dapat may mga words.
Yes.
So nag-start na yan, katarungan.
Yes.
Katarungan is not Tagalog. Walang katarungan, katwiran.
Yes.
Pero confusing yun kasi katwiran is reason.
Yes.
But it's also justice. So you have to have another word for justice. Katarungan.
Yes.
Katarungan is an invention which came from the Visayan word tarong, which is also tuwid.
Yes.
Diba? So, nag-start na yan na meron ng mga words na ganyan. But, hindi nga complete. Hindi natin natatapos. Kami, as academics, kaya ito napakaganda nung sinabi ni Seo Salazar kahit na naniniwala siya sa Tagalog-based national language dapat ang gamitin sa pagtuturo ng kasaysayan. Ang sabi niya, magagawa lang natin yan kung gumagamit tayo ng concepts. Hindi academe kasi alam mo to eh. Ang sakit ng akademya sa Pilipinas, ang mga concepts, ang mga frameworks, gusto niya ay galing lagi sa ibang bansa. parang gaya tayo ng gaya. Okay, I'll tell you. Ang ginagawa namin, kami, sa Pantayong Pananaw, ni Seo Salazar, kaming mga scholars niyan, gumagawa kami ng paraan na kumukuha kami ng konsepto sa iba't ibang lugar sa Pilipinas. Yun yung ginagamit namin. So, for example, when we talk about the concept of power, hindi namin ginagamit yung kapangyarihan. We use the concept of gahum.
Gahum, yes.
Okay. And gahum is not just kapangyarihan or power or yung poder ng politiko, halimbawa. Gahum is anting-anting.
Okay.
It can come from the divine.
Okay.
So may gahum na nakakasama, may gahum na nakabubuti. So, another concept from the Ilonggos, dungan. Dungan. Yung willpower sa loob ng tao na nagbibigay ng karisma sa kanya, swerte, leadership qualities, bokadura. So, pag dungganon nga tao ka, di ba? So, yung mga limbawa, yung mga leader natin sa local Cebu politics, sina Gwendolyn, sina Davide, sina Osmeña, sila yung mga dungganon nga tao. And we look at them as forces na nagka-clash. Yan yung kay Filomeno Aguilar, the clash of spirits. So, when the politics clash here, hindi mo lang siya nakikita as a political game in the Western sense. Pero yan ay labanan ng mga puwersa ng kadatuan, di ba? Ganon. So, we use terminologies from other so, halimbawa, Nilo Ocampo use, anong tawag doon? Yung masikan.
Okay.
It's from Kapampangan, strong, masikan. So, sana ganon, tayo, mag-e-effort na lang tayo kasi hindi yung gobyerno nga ang tingin, hayaan na natin yan.
Bayaan mo na lang.
Oo, na mag-evolve. Pero, tayo,
mahirap yun.
Hindi. Gawin na lang natin. Gamitin natin yung mga words. So, yeah, use gahum. Sa mga DOST ko, gumagamit ako ng mga local concepts. Pag-anghod for sandugo. Mga ganun.
Alam niyo, yung sinabi mong dungganon, for sa Cebuano, it means ear.
Iba sa panay.
The ability to be able to hear.
Ayan, yeah, wow.
Oh, that's what it means. Dunggan is ear. So, dungganon is something.
Ano rin yun? Kasi when you have intelligence, yung contacts mo na maraming nagbubulong sa'yo, that also gives you power.
And then yung dato, for the Cebuano, is somebody who is rich.
Cognate words yan. Because you all came from the Austronesians.
Pwedeng
So, yung halimbawa, yung lolo ni Elena Darda, di ba? Dato yun kasi mayaman. Nagpatayo ng yun ng Temple of Lea, di ba?
Yes.
Ayan.
But I hope what all these efforts calling from local concepts can be given emphasis rather than copying purely Western ideas. Because I've always noticed, sa akin lang to, ibang lingkod ninyo, mga Pilipino mahilig tumingin sa mga Western philosophies. Minsan nakakalimutan natin yung Oriental philosophies na kasing yaman din.
Madami na.
Kasing yaman
in Asia
din.
And here in the Philippines.
And then siguro yan ang bagong, what do I say, pag-asa ng mga historians ng Filipino to give life to these new concepts, which is totally Filipino, which is totally ours.
And not just to use them in the academe. Papasok ko na siyempre yung agenda ko. Public history.
Yes.
Public discussion of these things. Kaya nakakatulong na meron kayong politics and beyond. Yung and beyond mo, yun yung history. Na may pumapasok yung kasaysayan sa media. Napakaganda nun na dati, di ba, naalala mo na pareho tayong galing Channel 4 Pinasok ako sa Channel 4. Ni Ed Pinlan at saka ni Maria Montelibano.
Marunong pumili yung mga tao.
Ay, ako. I'm so honored. Pero feeling ko, tali-talino kong tao kasi napili nila ako. No? Pero alam mo yun, I'm keeping myself humble and alam naman natin, all of us are dispensable. Di ba? Dahil kung hindi naman ako yung nandito, may ibang loko-lokong gagawa nung ginagawa ko.
Ang problema, walang gumawa ibang loko-loko doon.
So, yun na nga. So, but we want to increase. Look, people might be thinking, siguro nai-insecure na si Xiao kasi mas marami ng mas magagaling na content creators sa history sa TikTok. Sabi ko, hindi. Hindi ko nakakaya yung demand sa akin to be interviewed.
Masyadong malawak kasi
hindi na ako nakakapagsulat nga Gusto ko nang sumulat lang Pero yun yung masaya doon. Dumadami na yung gustong mag-discuss about history. Pero dapat, ito yung reminder
Which
ko.
is a good thing.
It's a good thing, but this is my reminder.
Caveat.
Sir Eric, the caveat. You know this because you're a wide reader. The problem is, the trivialization of history.
Yes.
When people think that it's about interesting facts and little details. When, yes, they are important, but it's like, you have to look at it not as just, the trees, but also as the whole forest.
Yes, yes.
Yung saysay. Kasi kasabi ni Salazar, ang kasaysayan ay galing sa salitang saysay. So, ayun nga, sana, I hope that we can have more conversations on how yung mga storya na ito, kasi for me, history, are not just, hindi lang yan yung mga isolated events. Halimbawa, inauguration of Quezon, execution of Rizal. No, hindi ganyan. Ito yung series of events na makokonekta mo na maiintindihan mo yung kwento ng Pilipino para maintindihan mo ang sarili mo.
Sarili mo, yes.
So, paano natin binibigyan kahulugan yung mga kwento na yun? So, yung kahulugan ng mahalaga sa akin, na sana yung mga content creators ma-realize nila that it's about meaning making also.
Yes.
Rather than just saying facts. So, yun. I'm happy na ang dami na rin na interested. So, I sabi ko sa kanila, tumuloy kayo. Kahit hindi kayo historian. You don't have to be a historian. But hopefully, you see things like a historian.
There should be some conceptual application
Exactly.
to that learning, which is very crucial.
Yes.
Because dun sa concept, diyan ka nagiging tao, diyan ka nabubuhay bilang isang Pilipino, diyan ka iluluwag, at diyan ka maninindigan.
Yes.
Diba?
That's true.
Diyan nagkukulang. That's why we need more historians, more things to be written, especially pre-Spanish, kasi we're always having problems with pre-Spanish. And then, kung pwede lang, more documents from 1521 up to the 1900s so that there should be more research. And then, dapat meron pa tayong mga scholars na pumunta sa Spain to look at primary documents.
I tell you. Dumadami na sila, but also, for historians, mga bagong historians, you don't need to be in Spain because the Spanish archives they're so generous in just putting up everything in the internet.
Yes.
And doon actually alam mo yung NARA, yung National Archives ng United States. Yung mga record nila naka-upload. Marami nang naka-upload. So ang dami mo nang maiintindihan just by looking at the files. Yung mga death certificate nila Macario Sakay, makikita mo na doon yung mga pupunta doon na yung mga in-exile, gano'n. So, yan yung terrain ngayon. Ako as a historian, I focus already on yung tinatawag nating popularization.
Okay.
So, I leave it now to the new generation of historians to go to the archives and do all of these things. And ang aking parang mission is to bring those researches closer to the people so that they can be discussed and nilalapit natin yung mga kasaysayan sa taong bayan. So yun.
With the last 5 minutes, Professor,
Yeah.
This one is really what we always notice in many of the cities, many of the municipalities, is a museum. Its presence or absence.
Oh my God.
Its presence or absence. Is it a mirror, an indication of our lack of conscience and recognition of our history and who we are as a people?
Babaliktarin ko kasi I don't want to be negative.
Sige.
The presence of museums is an indicator that the people know itself.
Okay.
Kasi basic ang museo more than a book.
Yes.
Basic ang museo.
Yes.
Kasi ang libro pwedeng hindi basahin ng tao, pero ang museo pupuntahan.
Yes.
Every time I go to a country like Taiwan or Dubai.
Yan ang unang pinupuntahan natin.
Yan ang una kong pupuntahan. Pag napuntahan ko yan, yung ibang makikita ko, mas maintindihan ko.
Yes.
Kasi yung soul, yung identity ng tao. For example, you go to Taiwan, you go to Kaohsiung.
Yes.
Yung tinatawag natin na Museum of Kaohsiung History. Yun dapat pala yung unahin para maintindihan mo yung ibang makikita mo, no? Kung paano sila nagbuo from the many colonizers that happened and paano naging industrialized eventually. Yun nga, ito yung malungkot. I'll tell you, no? Sana hindi naman magalit sa akin. Alam mo yung Boracay?
Yes.
Wala silang museum by the government. Hindi ako nakakakita. Alam mo kung saan ko nakita ang museum ng Boracay?
Where?
Sa mga ati. Yung ati community, gumawa ng community museum. Tinulungan sila ng mga madre. Nandun ang history na ang Boracay pala ay nagmula sa mga ati.
Okay.
Kasi Boracay, white sand eh. So, ngayon, sila na yung ginigipit. Kasi pilit na maraming gustong kumuha ng mga lupa nila. At so, hindi i-highlight ng gobyerno yun, siyempre, di ba? So, parang nakakalungkot yun. Sa Cebu, it took me many visits to Cebu to complete all the museums of Cebu lang, And
how did that go? Was that
fantastic?
Okay.
Fantastic. Ang gaganda ng mga museo dito. You have Casa Gorordo and you have the Kabilin Center and you have yung all the network there. Yung mga Latin Jesuit House, the Yap San Diego House and all of that, no? The Museo Sugbu, the National Museum now. So, talagang magiging proud ang Cebuano eh. At kahit yung Pilipino na hindi naman Cebuano, nagiging proud.
Will embrace it.
Diba? Parang halimbawa ako, I will tell you, I'm probably the non-Cebuano who loves the #1 fan of Cebu. And I always say I love Cebu. Alam nila, that's why na-appreciate din ako ng ibang Cebuanos when I come here. We meet there, we have a cultural. Kasi when you study the history, when you study any history of any country or any town or any institution, you become part of it in a way.
Correct.
I'm not a Lasallian, but I made the Lasallian historical tour in De La Salle University in Manila. Hindi ako Lasallian, taga-UP ako, UP ako all throughout. But when I did that tour, I did that tour about the history of Lasal, but when I learned it, doon ko mas nagkaroon ng meaning yung pagiging Lasallian educator ko. So, wow, yun pala ang legacy. Yun ang kailangan makita natin eh.
Final question. Politicians see a museum like a by the way. Akin lang yun hindi galing sa kanya yun. Ang mga politiko, pag nakikita yung museo, parang sige, lagyan na lang natin by the way yan.
Parang para lang meron.
Parang lang meron. At sige, gawin na rin natin museum at library.
Well, ang gusto ko ay ayoko naman sabihin na hindi na ako nagpapasalamat. Pasalamat na rin tayo.
Pasalamat na lang tayo.
Oo. Pero, hopefully, we can engage those people, their cultural workers. Eventually kasi, ang maganda lang, magkaroon lang eh. Sige, lagyan nyo lang, kahit wala kayong alam.
Simulan lang natin.
Simulan nyo lang. And maraming magko-comment sa inyo, mag-engage sa inyo. Ang kailangan kasi hindi lang siya museum, library. There are public programs. You invite historians, you invite cultural workers, you have events there for the kids, for everyone. Gumagalaw yung exhibits, so it becomes interesting. So when you have that, yun yung ang mangyayari dyan, hindi na lang siya government-led museum. It becomes the community owns it. It becomes their facility, and they will appreciate it and they will love it. So yun din, actually yun yung gusto ko with public history. The history, although important yung ginagawa ng academics, marami akong utang na loob sa mga akademiko. But when you put history to the public, whether we agree with how people should view it or not, we own it eh. Nagiging atin siya dahil na we share it.
Kailangan isingit ko to. 1 minute. Are we teaching students of history to be critical thinkers, to be problem solvers? Yun na lang talaga ang final question ko. Or are we just telling them to memorize without being able to eat of the substance of the concepts therein?
If you teach history as a list of facts, patay na tayo.
Okay.
But when you tell stories that give meaning to who we are, even if you just tell that story, even if wala ka ng activity, the students will catch how that thinking comes. And makokopya niya yon kung paano mag-isip at paano yung... Kasi pati naman kami, when we tell stories, we say both sides, ganyan-ganyan, both sides, pero we favor this kasi ito, ganyan-ganyan. Makikita na nila kung paano mag-isip eh. So I think that's kailangan makita rin natin na history is not, there is not one history.
Yes.
You are going to be critical thinker if you realize that we have histories.
Yes.
Histories, iba-ibang klaseng kasaysayan.
Many stories being told.
And kapag lang madami na yan, mababuo natin yan, dyan lang tayo magiging tunay na isang bansa.
Well, I have nothing more to say. I think with that, we are going to end this interview. Maraming salamat, Professor. Thank you very much. Let me shake your hands.
No, beautiful. It's a great honor.
Thank you very much.
My idol.
Thank you very much. Yan po ang kabuuan ng ating programang Politics and Beyond. Sana po kami nakadulot sa inyo ng kahit kaunting kaalaman, unta namoy na po sa maski ginagmay sa among mga gipang hisgutan din eh. Kani si Eric Espina for Politics and Beyond. Daghang salamat.
Usa ka pagtuo